I don't think it was anyone's fault today. They did a better job. They positioned themselves better. We were all hustling. I will say that I think when Lydia was catapulting the ball, that it was going a little further in their direction, or in that direction, say, than when Brian was catapulting it in our direction. It was kind of a cluster mess in our direction, but it was, a bit singled out over towards, the Nacum direction. So that had a little bit to play with it. But, man, when we lose or we win, I don't blame it on anybody or anything. We win and we won. If we lost, you know what? We lost, and we were supposed to lose, and we didn't do a good enough job executing. The storm last night was pretty much a nightmare. It rained for about 2.5 hours straight, constantly downpour, didn't stop raining, and a few of us got under the umbrella, a few of them stayed under the shelter, but we all got soaked. I mean, I did. And we pretty much slept standing up, so that was just the way it is, Everyone was wet, but Blake said he stayed dry, and he was up under the shelter. I think he had the only place on the shelter that wasn't leaking, and I think Amy asked him if it was dry over there, and he wouldn't say anything. He just kept, like staying still, like I'm dry, whatever. And so, things like that right there, that those kind of little things like that come into play in a camp, because, when somebody's trying to get dry and you're dry, it's a team deal. You got to share a little bit, I mean, some things do by yourself, but things like that, you gotta spread the wealth. Everybody calls Blake Golden Boy because every time he tells a story, it's like the most picture-perfect story you could ever imagine. Like, every time he tells something, it's like perfect. It's like just a perfect story. Like, he was sleeping in the shelter last night. He was the only one that didn't get wet. Golden Boy. It's he always comes out squeaky clean. So Amy gave him the name Golden Boy. I was going to say that another thing I've noticed in this game, too, that has also prepared me, and it takes a little while for it to come out, but people's true character start coming out in this game. And it takes a little while, but, maybe not on day 4, day 5, or day 6, but on day, 14, day 15, the person that you're supposed to have your alliance with, that you went to the same college with, and, you guys, were in the same sorority, whatever, you start seeing it, that person is not so nice as they were on day 4. They're not so as helpful as they were on day 4 or day 5. They're not as quiet, walking around trying to pitch out and pitch a hand and help around camp as they once were. And to me, that's when character starts really showing in a person, and that is probably one thing that Blake may be lacking on a little bit, that Gary has definitely stepped up to the plate at. Gary's been the same man since I got here, and he hadn't changed one bit. And that is something that really comes into play, because we got a long way to go. Day 25 comes around, we still need to be getting firewood. We still need to be, getting water and stuff. Blake started out in this game, pretty sick. I did myself. I cramped up real bad, severely dehydrated. I was down for a couple of days. Blake was down a few more days he had a breathing issue, and it was really setting him back, but he overcame it. He toughed it out. But the thing is, is another breathing issue going to come into play, because, it's going to get a lot harder. We hadn't seen hard yet. We're eating corn and stuff, but, it's going to start running thin, and I don't know. I don't see Blake. I don't see his character being as strong-willed as Gary's in the long run. There's just no way. There's no way. And that's going to play a factor in my decision tonight, too.